What is going on, y'all? This is the Cave Fan. I'm here with Football with Oz Austin for episode 63 of Against the Blitz. Another wild ride is in the books after week 3 of the 2025 NFL season. There were a lot of great games. There were a lot of forgettable games, but nonetheless, there were takeaways from every single one. And we're going to overreact as much as we possibly can to every single little thing that happened in this game. And I'm excited to do it. It's just fun. It's just fun to freak out sometimes.
It is, and I think as the season goes on, the more the games will matter. Because week one, you can chalk it off to your rookie still getting used to the system. Your new coaches, they're not quite acclimated yet, but we're coming on week 4 now. Like, we're starting to really get an understanding of who everyone is, and I think the week 3 did the best job at that.
Absolutely. But before we get into every single game that was on the slate, as always, join us for more discussion down in the Discord, linked below. Extremely active all the time. If you have fantasy questions, you'll get them answered down there as well. But we have a great time in the middle of the Sunday slate. I don't think there is a 3-minute span where there isn't a message sent. So
No.
It is extremely fun. So highly recommend you hop in there. But we'll start chronologically. And we'll go to the Thursday night game, the Bills, the Miami Dolphins. As a Bills fan, I unfortunately had the thrill of watching Tua become a playmaker for the first time in the last 2 years. But yeah, what were your takeaways from that one?
It was my main takeaway was it was a little bit too close for comfort for Buffalo fans. I think the general idea was that they were just going to steamroll them on a primetime game. You get Tua in primetime, it's a recipe to destroy him, but that was the best football he's played in a little bit until that untimely pick at the very end. But it was uncomfortable, but the Bills offense still looked pretty good. Everything looked pretty comfortable on their end still. Like, they had the game under wraps. It was just that late touchdown because Jalen Waddle was left one-on-one. It was some weird moments that got the score closer than it needed to be, but ultimately a 10-point victory sounds about right.
Yeah, it definitely, like you said, was a little bit too close for comfort. I think most teams, when they play, most fans of teams, when you're going into a divisional game, you kind of expect there to be some flukiness to some extent. But for us, it's like we're used to killing the Dolphins. And I guess, yeah, that was kind of the assumption that this one wouldn't be close. But like you said, this was probably the best football that Tua played this year and probably in a while. I mean, he didn't get sacked a single time. They converted 10 of 15 third downs. And even though Tua wasn't really pushing the ball downfield, he was managing the game very well. That drive right before half was perfectly executed. And like you said, outside of that pick, which is really unfortunately what encompasses Tua is just untimely turnovers, he really did play a good game. And I kind of felt bad for him after the fact.
I always feel bad for Tua. I mean, like, he's not a bad guy. Like, he doesn't play the worst usually. It's just per his expectations compared to how he used to play, compared to how good that offense used to be, and how similar the offense is built, minus like what Teron Armstead. Everything else is pretty much the same, give or take. So it's kind of sad to see him just kind of get worse, or maybe just get exposed. But they had a chance. They had a really good chance to make this a good football game, but Terrell Bernard had other plans and picked him off, leading to a comfortable victory for the Bills. But the first 3 quarters were not comfortable whatsoever.
No, and Ollie Garden had a lot to do with that. So I hope out of all of this, Dolphins fans could at least know that they have a pretty dynamic backfield between Gordon and Achane. I think that's something to be somewhat excited about. And as a Bills fan, on the other side of things, I feel like there was a lot of conversation after this game about Josh Allen's passing chart. I think him and Tua combined for like 1.5 yards per pass. I can't remember what the stat was, but it was some extremely disgusting number. And everyone was like, what has quarterbacking come to in this day and age? But I don't know. I think Joe Brady's offense is just a product of what the game needs. But at the same time, I do wish there were more chances taken. We went from Josh Allen being a maniac to all of a sudden there being like little excitement unless like they have to pull off a 30-point comeback.
Yeah, I think that's just they've gotten so used to winning that way, kind of how the Chiefs did. Like it doesn't look much pretty. Like Josh Allen's, his box scores aren't going to be more impressive than they were 2 years ago, but they're winning more games, and that's ultimately what matters because he's not throwing arm punts. You're not getting all that dumb stuff you used to get, and like he's taking calculated attacks, but he's not just doing it for the sake of doing it. And this game, I mean, there just wasn't a lot available. Even against a bad secondary, they don't have the weapons to feel fully confident in unleashing a ball. Like, I guess you feel good about Keon Coleman maybe in a contested situation, but he hasn't proven that yet. Like, same with Josh Palmer, the man beater. He hasn't proven himself to be a one-on-one winner, so they don't really have a guy to go to there. They're a little bit more comfortable operating behind the offensive line, getting James Cook and Dalton Kincaid involved. Are kind of better players than those perimeter receivers, using Shakir, who's not a vertical presence by any means. So that's just what their offense is built to do until they go after a field stretcher, until they go after like a true wide receiver one. They're going to be a condensed offense. That's just who they'll be.
Yeah, you're right. I guess we just have to accept it. But my God, like Elijah Moore has literally been turned into a jet sweep merchant. So that's his purpose now. And
he's good at it.
I guess, right? Like, who would have saw that coming? But yeah,
it's better than Curtis Samuel.
Curtis Samuel's dead. Elijah Moore's a jet sweep guy. Keon's like a ghost. It's like, does Keon even exist? It's like one time he'll like appear as an apparition in the game at the end of the fourth quarter against the Ravens and then just ghost, disappear, gone.
He's just not the kind of guy you scheme for. He's the kind of guy you just get the ball to in an emergency, kind of how they did against the Ravens. Like when they're like, oh shit, we gotta go. Like we'll hope the 6'4" athlete can get the ball, and it works sometimes. It worked against Baltimore, but there's no urgency to get him the ball in space. Like no urgency to make him a part of the conversation until it has to.
Mm-hmm. That is true, and I think my final piece on my team here is that I know this has been the winning formula for Buffalo from a defensive perspective, but I still just don't feel good about seeing Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry run down our throats, and then Ollie Gordon, Devon Achane run, dink and dunk offenses down the field and running between the tackles successfully. Like I said, Tua literally looked like a playmaker at times on third down. And that was not something I was very used to seeing, but it's just the same formula of looking terrible for 95% of the game, but then coming up with a timely turnover and it makes up for it. So I guess
it was a great jump by Terrell Bernard. He saw that shit from a mile away. It wasn't even like a lucky pick. Like he had that one, but yeah, it felt uncomfortable, but primetime games, Thursday night games against divisional opponents, they do that. It's not too crazy.
Yeah, that is true. But that was far from the only ugly divisional game. I mean, there were so many on this slate.
I mean, you could pick, but like I think the Falcons and Panthers might be the ugliest one. And really, despite being like a 30-0 game, the Panthers offense did not look very good. But they were saved because at least their defense played pretty well, and the Falcons didn't do anything right. A lot of people have been kind of putting their own TikTok or Twitter breakdowns of how bad Michael Penix was, but they're not kidding. Like, if you actually sit down and watch these full things, he passed up on every possible opportunity to complete a successful pass and made the most incorrect decision he could possibly make on almost every single one. So no bueno for the Michael Penix believers and Falcons fans.
He's like an enigma. Michael Penix is just an enigma. Like going into this year, I didn't even have an opinion on him because it was kind of hard to develop one based off of what we saw, but he just felt like such an outlier from so many different angles. Like, like you were saying, there are so many people sitting down and talking about this game and him specifically and his throwing motions and, him being on the same page with his receivers. Like there was just so much that went into the Michael Penix conversation since that game has been finished. But I still don't know what to think because on one hand, I do think Michael Penix played atrociously, but on the other hand, they just go and fire the receivers coach. So maybe there was something going on there. And then On the third hand, I have been saying for months now that I think Raheem Morris is the worst coach in football. Like, I think this guy's going to be learning Excel on LinkedIn in a matter of a couple of months if this is how his team shows out against the Commanders with potentially no Jaden Daniels or Terry McLaurin. So I don't know. There's a lot that can go into it, but Penix still, like I said, is such an unknown to me. Like, the highs are so high, but the lows are just devastating.
Like, they didn't even do anything special to him. He didn't get pressured a lot. They didn't give him a lot of like tricky coverage looks. It was just bad reads and bad throws. Like, there was one where it was like I think it was like a standard comeback route, and it wasn't like it was the bad read. It was a good read, but he took the ball way too inside, and it got picked. And same with his pick six that he threw to who even picked him off? Who was on the first one? Like Show Smith Wade or whatever. Like, I don't even know who that was. But like, I don't even know who that was. But he threw a pick six throwing to his check down in the flat when he had a wide open guy downfield. Like, it was just panic mode from the start for this guy. And it's weird because they were coming off such a high from the Vikings game last week, where the defense looked great. The pass rush did whatever they wanted. And they kind of crushed JJ McCarthy, but it's now looking like that was kind of more of the fluke game, and JJ McCarthy just played that bad, and they aren't actually that good of a football team, and it really showed.
Yeah, there were a lot of like measuring stick games this week, a lot of potential traps like this one. I think there were probably a lot of people that went with the Falcons for their survivor pick because the Panthers have looked terrible. But like you said, they really didn't look better. It was just the Falcons played that awful. Like, Bryce Young did not look good. He didn't grade out well. Should I say Mr. McMillan is flashing.
I can't say Tet. I can't say Tet. They'll get you.
They will. McMillan's flashing. He's been looking solid, but Bryce didn't even look that exceptional in this game. It was really just a matter of the Falcons breaking down, or Penix breaking down, I should say. And, there were people saying that Bryce might die under the pressure of this pass rush going into this week. And that was also just nowhere to be found. But I guess that might be a product of I don't care anymore if my quarterback can't see straight. So I'm just not going to sprint as hard after Bryce Young if this is what's happening. But I do think the Falcons are literally 55% of the reason why Bryce Young still has a job. I think he's like 7-30 against every other team, but 3-1 against the Falcons in his career. It's ridiculous.
I know. And I love the guy. I hate to shit on him. And there's no need for me to even get on him after they won 30-0. Like, he didn't have to do anything special. Like, they scored a touchdown. Like, he ran for a touchdown and they got a pick six early. Like, they were up 2 scores pretty quick. He didn't have to do anything special. Chuba Hubbard ran for 70 yards. Like, they were doing fine. He just didn't do anything special. Like, this isn't the game to hang the hat, say he's back. The Panthers are back. It's just, the Falcons were just that bad. Like, they really were.
Yeah, they were. I think this next week, as I was kind of alluding to against the Commanders, is going to be very big for the future of this coaching staff. And I know that they're moving Zach Robinson on the field. That report came out. He's going to move from the press box to the sideline. That's just one of those panic mode.
That's just decisions. Showmanship.
Yes.
Like that doesn't change anything for him. Like you're still able to communicate with everyone you would have before. You can see the field less now, actually. There isn't a whole lot besides direct communication with all your players, but I don't think that was even on him. I think that he's kind of being scapegoated here. They do have an injured offensive line. They do have a quarterback that's playing stupid right now. I would not go so fast to blame the play caller, as easy as that has been for every team in history, just to blame your play caller. It's not his fault. Not this game anyways.
Agreed. But yeah, that's really it. Just kind of 2 bad teams, and one was just worse. That was this game.
Well, one bad team versus a team that was just significantly worse was the Bengals versus the Vikings. And that was a game where it was you didn't really even have a person to blame. It was almost just like they didn't care. They went down quickly 14-0 and they just gave up. They had 5 total fumbles, 2 interceptions. It was just a game of nobody caring. Like Jamar wasn't blocking, nobody cared to block. It was an ugly game, and the Vikings took advantage by just slinging touchdowns to your guy TJ Hawkinson. Jordan Mason got to run really wherever he wanted. It was just an ugly game all around, but some people are calling for Jake Browning to stay. Some people are calling for them to possibly make a move for one of the Giants' backup quarterbacks right now. I don't think people care which one, but it would be cool to see Jameis Winston in a Bengals uniform after seeing that game.
I mean, I feel like if you want to show that you care from an organizational standpoint to the people that pay your bills, you got to do something. I mean, Browning up until this point, and even going to this game, we had talked about it. Everyone on Twitter talked about it. Like, Browning has played serviceable football before. It was very weird to see like how bad it got and how fast it turned. Like, I mean, he had a QBR of 23. Like, it was just such a bad game from every single individual on the Bengals. And it really, the unfortunate part is it all broke down in the one spot that we know it breaks down for Cincinnati all the time. And that's in the trenches. That's in the offensive line. And, you know, for any backup quarterback, the best way to kind of maybe get them in a rhythm or help them out is have some sort of semblance of a run game. And that just is non-existent. Like, Chase Brown is having one of the worst seasons, productively speaking, from a running back's perspective, like ever. Like, he's got like 40 rushes for like 80 yards.
Yeah, it's not even his fault.
No,
like at all. He's being hit like statistically in the backfield more often than not. Like, what are you supposed to do there? It is just partially it is just their love for certain players that they can't let go of, including Ted Karras, because he sells really cool hats. Like, that's the reason they gave him a 1-year extension. But he's always been a poor run blocker. He has turned into an unplayable one, and now is a bad pass blocker. So there is really good depth behind him in Seth McLaughlin and Matt Lee, but you and I both know there's going to be no changes there as long as he's selling his really cool hats. But this is part of the reason I do want Jameis is like, yeah, I think he'll turn the ball over just as much as Jake Browning. Like, they might put up similar stat lines, whatever. But I don't think the problem was even a skill issue. It was just like they were so unmotivated to win this game. They didn't care at all. Like, after it was 14-0, they gave up completely. And I don't think Jameis would let that happen. Like, I think that he is just so fun to play for and play next to that it would make it a fun season. Like, you would lose, but it'll be fun. And that's all I want. Like, I don't want to watch Jake Browning, fumble the game away, throw 2 picks again. It's boring. He's no fun. Bring in Jameis Winston. That's what the people want.
It's too early to kind of just throw your hands up in the air and say, oh, well, like, we're going
2-1.
They are. Yeah, they're literally.
They have a better record than the Ravens and the Chiefs right now.
That is insane. That is crazy.
Your season is like the team isn't that horrible to where you have to be losing this many games. Like, you don't have to lose out. Like, you can still win 6-7 more games. Like, you don't have that difficult of a schedule. This is awful.
You don't even do it on purpose anymore.
I don't. It's just a normal number. It was never on purpose, by the way.
I know, but you always say it now.
I don't know how.
But yeah,
like when you have those 2 receivers, there's no excuse to have a limp noodle quarterback that's uninspiring. Like, Jameis is bad at a lot of things, but he has a big arm and he's very inspiring.
Yes. Yeah, I just can't believe this Chase Brown stat line. I knew it was bad, but I didn't know it was 10 carries for 3 yards bad. Like,
he's not even the only one that's doing those kind of stat lines, and we'll get into that later. There's another one that actually has it a little bit worse.
I feel like we have to highlight Isaiah Rodgers, though, if we're going to talk about this game.
Yeah, I put him in a post of my own, but 99.9 PFF grade is ridiculous. Like, never before done.
That's like finding a shiny Pokemon, just like in the grass, just like running in the what. Someone will resonate with me. It's just like when you're running through, like, I don't know, the Kanto region, and you're just trying to get to the next like gym, and then all of a sudden you appear with like a random shiny Pidgey. And it's like, oh, this is awesome. I didn't ask for this. I don't need this, but like shit, I'll take it. That's exactly what Isaiah Rodgers 99.9 graded game
Yeah.
was for the Vikings.
Like some of it was kind of a little lucky. Like Harrison Smith tipped a pass, went into his hands, whatever. But like the fact that he just did so much, like the pick six, the 2 fumbles forced, and he also had really good coverage. Like he gave up 2 total yards on the game. Like it wasn't like he got those like lucky picks and then gave up 40 yards. Like he had T Higgins. I think he had PBUs on him a couple times, like in red zone reps. Like he was legitimately really, really good. It was really weird.
Yeah, I remember seeing, as a T Higgins owner, a potential scoring opportunity like 30 yards downfield, one-on-one coverage. The ball looked perfect. It looked like it went right through his hands, but I think Rodgers was there impeding his vision or something. But yeah, he did have a few plays in coverage that certainly flew under the radar. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
this guy was a key cog to. He was with the Eagles last year, if I'm not mistaken, and he was a key cog to that Super Bowl championship. And now he's with potentially another defense that could have similar hopes if they had a quarterback. But
well, I think it's like people were panicking about the Vikings defense before, but they were missing a lot of personnel. Like it was their first game without Blake Cashman. They did not have Andrew Van Ginkel. Jonathan Grenard was banged up. They didn't have Harrison Smith, and all of those guys came back healthy for this game. And they looked a lot more the part of the defense of last season than the defense of the Falcons game. And I think that just plays to show like the most impactful person not named Rodgers was Van Ginkel.
mm-hmm.
He was everywhere. And them missing him in the Falcons game really hurt. So I think their defense, I wouldn't panic after seeing the first week or two. They look back.
Absolutely. Yeah. Brian Flores has this unit buzzing. Like it's scary. This is one of those like they will win you football games type of units, and they've been for a couple of years now. So
yeah,
poor Jake Browning.
Yeah. Speaking of a defense that could win you games, it actually did happen. The Cleveland Browns versus the Green Bay Packers. That was one of my favorite watches I've ever watched, and I love the Packers and I hate the Browns. But I was rooting so hard for the Browns to win there down the stretch because it was just the most perfect display of 2023 Cleveland Browns football possible. They're back.
I mean, I think that Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski should be thrown in prison for wasting another unit's talent. Like this is going to be another dominating defense that is going to have no purpose this season. They're just going out there to play for themselves and each other, and that's it for the love of the game, as they would say.
Right.
And that's great and all, but this is the second time now where you're getting all-world Myles Garrett literally like teleporting through portals to get to the quarterback, and Carson Schlesinger is sideline to sideline, but also in the backfield at the same time. And Mason Graham is like a 50% pass rush win rate when the average is like 9% in this game. It's like, this is going to be one of those defenses that you look back on and you're like, my God, if they had a quarterback, they would have been awesome. And the frustrating part is this is not the first time.
They have a running back now. Like Judkins looked awesome. He looked awesome. Harold Fannin looks good and Njoku looked good. Like everybody they need to look good looks good. Even their kicker, who lost them the game week 1, comes in and sinks a 55-yard game winner out of nowhere. Like it was the most ridiculous thing ever. Shelby Harris blocked a kick that the Packers would have won the game with. Like that's like what his like 10th blocked field goal in his career. Like
what?
Not 10, but he has a lot.
Really?
Yeah, Shelby Harris has like a good handful of blocked field goals in his career, like more than anybody. It's really weird.
Notable Russell Wilson trade package piece.
Noah Fant. He was one of the 5 fumblers in the Bengals game. Yeah, it was crazy. But like it was a mixture of Jordan Love looking awful. Josh Jacobs, we mentioned it last week, is still yet to be seen. A really weird play by Matthew Golden where he burnt. Like he had a 90-yard touchdown if he wanted it, but he must have not known where he was on the field and went out of bounds. That ultimately kind of lost them the game. Allowing Shelby Harris to block his millionth field goal of his career lost them the game. It was a bunch of small little moments, but those little moments are what won the Browns so many games in 2023 for their last playoff push. And this team is eerily similar in really every way, including the quarterback. Like Flacco was the main factor in that. And while he's playing bad football now, it might mean something.
I hope not. I really hope not.
It might mean
I don't want to root against the Browns because like I feel bad for their fan base and the players, but I think they just deserve infinite like misery.
They deserve doom.
Yes,
doom.
They should be doomed to hell.
We've mentioned it a million times in this podcast, but dooming Baker Mayfield out of your team because he was playing with a hurt shoulder and he won a playoff game, but not enough playoff games. Like they kicked him out of town for that, and then they brought in I was going to say a different word. They brought in a accused sexual assaulter in Deshaun Watson and ruined the entire franchise for 15 plus years. So they deserve misery. They deserve doom. But the players, I feel bad for the players because they didn't deserve this.
No, they didn't. But on the other side of the ball or the hand of the Packers, you kind of touched on it already. But yeah, I mean, this was just a disaster in every way, shape, and form. Like this team felt like they were on top of the world these past couple weeks.
They were saying they weren't scared of anybody.
No, yeah, and was that Rasheed Walker that said that?
Yeah,
and then that was like that's becoming like the talk of the week now. It was just Rasheed Walker was talking undefeated before the game, and this is what they get. It's like, okay, what do you want the guy to say? We're gonna lose football games, like
right.
But this all plays into how I feel about Jordan Love. I feel like I've been saying this too for a little bit. Love still looks like the quarterback he was 2 years ago. This is once again an offense that really doesn't ask him to do that much. He's comfortable. It's very a laissez-faire type of approach. He doesn't have to really, his name doesn't get called upon that often. And it just feels like when it is, he either doesn't pull through or he completely blunders. And this time around, it was a fat blunder, and it lost them the game. I mean, that was the most ill-advised pass I think I've ever seen. Like, you cannot throw an interception inside like the 15-yard line. Like, that was what are you doing? Like, think, like, use your head for 1 second. He like microwaves himself and throws the football
every single time they play a bad team. And like that was probably the betting favorite to be the Super Bowl winner. Like when you talk about the odds, like that was a team that looked like they could beat and would beat the bolts off of everybody. But like you said, Jordan Love microwaves his brain and fills it full of mush. And if Josh Jacobs can't carry the offense and they just have to air it out, it's going to be bad. And it was.
Yeah. I mean, and that's kind of what's been happening. Like, I think it's kind of gotten swept under the rug these first few weeks because of all of the Micah Parsons honeymoon stuff and how well that defense has been playing. But they have let opposing teams stick around in each game they've played so far. Mm-hmm. In the Lions game, I don't think they ever really pulled ahead until late. It felt like they were killing them the whole time, but the scoreboard said otherwise.
Yeah.
The same thing with the Commanders on Thursday night. Like, that game could have gotten interesting had the Commanders not looked like just so bad. And then this is the third game now where that was the case again. They let the Browns hang around. It felt like they were going to win the whole time, and they should have been killing them, but they just were not able to put their neck through their throat. And this is what they get. Like, and the frustrating part, I'm sure for Packers fans, is that they lose because of a special teams blunder. And Matt LaFleur has had special teams issues for the last 7 years. I think he's been coaching 7 years now. This has been a thing since he got hired. And at the end of last season, it ends with special teams issues. And for some reason, they give Rich Bisaccia an extension. And I think some Packer fan is going to go full manic mode and assassinate LaFleur for giving him that extension because the issues just continue. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. But yeah, that just kind of feels like one of those games that happened, and you brush it off, and you chalk it up to a trap game. And this is the game that woke you up. You're woke now. On to the next one. Like it's not a panic mode game. It's just an alarming game. It's a little bit different.
This is DEFCON like 2.
DEFCON 2, okay.
DEFCON 2. The Browns are DEFCON 2. Like if this was like I don't know, like a Falcons, then fine, maybe slightly like DEFCON 1, but the Browns, that's DEFCON 2. I think this is alarming. Like, well, pretty alarming.
A team for me to panic on is the Raiders, who played the Washington Commanders and looked horrible. They had the fortune of playing against the backup quarterback, Marcus Mariota, and he looked better than Jayden Daniels has this year against this Raiders defense. He did really whatever he wanted. And it was the first time we saw any action out of Terry McLaurin. Like, there was a lot of things that just looked really, really bad about the Raiders all the way through. Offense, defense, what have you. But what was most concerning to you in this game?
I blindly chose the Raiders because I'm like, oh, Mariota. Okay. Well, this is certainly when the Raiders wake up,
That's
right?
That's what I
did. But obviously not. And the same thing happened to Vegas that's been happening to Vegas. Their offensive line cannot open any holes up for Genty, and they can't get that going. And it just is not a compatible operation from any angle. Like Chip Kelly is somebody that wants to establish the run and dominate on the ground, but they can't do that. But then when that doesn't work, there's no downfield attack because Geno Smith wants to hold on to the football, but there's really not the Seattle type weapons there were there before that he was used to playing with. So he's taking bad sacks and he's getting pressured constantly. And on top of the fact that Bowers is also hurt. So there's just nothing that is really meshing together. It's just like, and I said this from the jump, like this is a team that wanted to establish the run. And once they wouldn't be able to establish the run, would they be able to pass and keep themselves in games? And the answer is no. And this is what happens.
Can I ask you a trivia question?
Oh boy.
What guard in week 3 gave up the most pressures?
I mean, it has to be a Raiders guard, right? Alex Kappa.
Alex Kappa. The Raiders were so quick to sign him, and like they signed him in like 6 minutes after he was released. Gave him a pretty plentiful dollar amount, and in his first like real action, he ends up with allowing 7 pressures and 5 hurries, 2 QB hits. No sacks though. You know, he's that good. But yeah, when your kind of mini rebuild, if you will, is surrounded by getting guys of Alex Kappa's, caliber in your building, it's not a good rebuild. And they have this obsession with Trey Tucker and Dante Thornton, and it doesn't work until garbage time. I mean, Trey Tucker ended up with 145 yards and 3 touchdowns. But like I would say 90 of those were in garbage time, and 2 of those touchdowns were in garbage time. It was a bad game, and it got out of hand pretty quick because the Raiders had 0 answers on 3rd down. They couldn't run the ball. It was ugly. Like you said, most of that is due to the offensive line.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, I feel like we're going to be saying this every week now, and it's going to get very annoying to people, but this is the reality. This is what they set themselves up for. So what are we supposed to say?
like it's literally like, obviously, like we sound repetitive, but they're losing the exact same way every single week, and they're doing nothing to fix it. So we're just going to keep saying the exact same thing we've said, because as we said preseason, this is not the offensive line that you want to cater to skill position players of that caliber. Like, they have one of the best tight ends in the league. They have one of the best running back prospects in recent memory. They have a good quarterback, and they brought in someone like Jack Besh that they refuse to use. They didn't really get the ball to Bowers. They're letting him play hurt. Genty can't move. And he was the guy that we hinted at earlier that has less yards before contact than Chase Brown does. It's Genty. He is getting, I think that there was a marker of like, he has hit on like 101% of his like, like what was that stat? It's like 101% of his yards come after contact.
Yes.
Yeah. That's terrible. 101% of all of his rushing yards have came after contact. That's insane. And like kind of sad for him. Like your first like what 3-4 years of or like your prime of a rookie running back, a young running back, and they are pouring one of them down the drain essentially and doing nothing about it.
For someone that was so anti, Genty, Six, and all of that, I didn't even think it would be this bad. Like, I never
No.
imagined it would be this terrible. Like, it is 4 times worse than I even expected.
No. When I thought of this, I thought of Ken Walker kind of thing. Like he'll have his games. Ken Walker will pop off for good games. Like he's a good running back. Like you can get him in space. Like things can happen. We can manufacture him into open space. But for Genty, it's like literally just being pounded, turning him around, pounding him more. Like it is awful, awful things they're doing to him on a daily basis. Like it's so much worse than Ken Walker has ever had it, which is hard to say. That's crazy, but it's true.
Yeah, it is. And like you said, like the early part, the first contract for a running back is typically the span of time where they are the best, where you get the most out of them. And, if this team finally puts it together by year 3 or maybe year 4 of Genty's contract, then it's like, what do those 2 years look like? And is he going to stick around? Like, is he really the running back you hoped he would be in those first 4 years? And is it because he just isn't as good as you hoped he'd be? Or is it because you spent the first 2 years allowing him to get smacked at the line of scrimmage every play? So, yeah, there's really no other theme to the Raiders right now. But on the other hand, the Commanders, to my surprise, have run for the second most yards per game in the first 3 weeks so far. They're averaging like 157 yards on the ground. Like Terry might only have to be a splash player. Like, do they even need him at this point?
30 million. 33 million, was it not? Like, but the weird part about like what you just said is 150 yards a game, and they haven't had a running back really have a crazy game at all. Like the most rushing yards they've had from a running back was what, like 80 in week 1. Like they haven't, like Jeremy McNichols broke off a big one for some reason, but like Chris Rodriguez was a healthy scratch 2 weeks ago, and now he was their bell cow. Like nothing they're doing makes sense to me whatsoever. And it feels like they're just kind of picking and choosing their running backs based off of the defense that they're given, which to me sounds like a good idea, and it looks like it's kind of working. But I'm just curious about like the long term, like actual efficiency of not having a star running back and not getting your passing game going. But they didn't have Jaden Daniels; they had Mariota in, and they ran all over the Raiders, which is all you could have asked them to do.
Yep. It's a little scary. So is the potential idea that Genty was a system running back because Dylan Riley is putting up Genty numbers in the first 2 weeks at Boise State. So I will be on Dylan Riley watch. I will be.
I don't think he's even draft eligible.
Oh shit! Really?
I think he's like a kid.
Oh
I think he's young. Which
That's
is crazy.
Insane.
Yeah, he might be. I might have just lied to you. I do that all the time, but I do not know. But
he's a sophomore.
See, I know everything. All right. Well, on to the next game. Stop me if I've said this before. A Steelers and Patriots game looked really ugly. Everything about this game, offense, like passing games, running backs, defenses, everything looked so ugly about this game. But the Steelers somehow ended up the slightly less ugly team getting the win. But a lot of fingers to point at in this game.
Tomlin's endless well of black magic. It pulls through again. He just goes back to it, and he's like,
"You don't need to make it a race thing," but
right.
I do agree with you. There is magic involved, and it's ridiculous.
Well, whatever it is, he goes to it, and he prays, or he reaches down into it, and he's like, "Please, please, I need something. I need help." And 5 turnovers fall in his lap for a game that he wins by 7 fucking points. Like, how do you win a game by 7 points when you win the turnover battle 5-1? 5-1. How do you only win by 7 points? It was the most Pittsburgh Steelers victory of all time.
They only had I think they had less first downs than I have fingers on my left hand. Like it was really, really weird. But Ramondre Stevenson fumbled twice, once on the goal line, and they're like you know what? We're committed to him, man. Run him again.
Yep.
Fumbles again. We're not going to learn from our mistakes. Run him again. And they're just going to keep losing games because of Ramondre Stevenson and their love for him. But he has a face only a mother could love, so I don't really get it. I don't get how Vrabel does, but I don't get it at all. They're in love with him.
Yes, they are. And the thing is, I don't think they're gonna like reduce his role. I just
I
something
feel like
tells
they have
me
to.
I don't know. After the game, I think Stevenson was asked. He was asked a question, and he responded something of the sort like, if I keep fumbling, they don't need me, and that was in response to Vrabel saying we need Stevenson at his best, or we need him because he's a great player. Like I kind of take that sort of comment like, they really like Ramondre and they really want him to be successful, so they're going to continue to give him opportunities. Maybe not as many, or maybe the leash won't be as long, but I don't know. Like you would think that a game where not only does Stevenson go and fumble your game away twice, but then the other running back that you choose to go with and your kick returning Antonio third down Gibson, and then he fumbles, and then you go to Henderson. It's like, I don't know. I feel like they're trying everything in their power to not give Henderson a big role.
Looking right now at the PFF grades from this game, what two players on the Patriots offense do you think had the worst grades?
Actually, I'm going to give one to Will Campbell.
He was third to last, which is fair because he was terrible.
All right, well then it has to be Stevenson 1, and I mean, yeah, it's got to be Gibson 2, right?
It was Antonio Gibson 2. They have an obsession with two running backs that were the worst players on their offense per PFF, which is insane, like actually insane. Will Campbell was bad. He gave up a good handful of pressures, but those two running backs borderline single-handedly turned that game away. But not single-handedly, because Pop Douglas also had a chance to get a very, very big not game-winning, but game-moving first down, and he tried to get more yards instead of just diving forward for the first down. He tried to take a step back and go for the big play, and it popped in his face pretty bad.
Pop. Yeah, the Patriots are just they're just a ball of faults that just explodes every time they step on the football field. There's really nothing else to it. Like Drake May's trying, but his best receiver is fucking Hunter Henry. Like we're running out Keyshawn Boutte and Mac Hollins. Like the only juice in that whole room is really Kyle Williams, and he saw 8 routes last week. It's probably time to change that. Maybe, maybe just a theory, but it just is. You just can't expect him to do very much. Like I think most people in like the football world understand that May's like not playing that, like he's not playing bad. He's just not getting help. No. And the Patriots are the only ones that are not realizing that it's their fault.
They're like, we're doing this the right way. It's just not happening the way we want it.
Yes.
Which is stupid.
Pretty much.
No, it is working though.
Oh boy.
Daniel Jones.
Yes.
For the third week in a row, we get to say it might be a fluke, but Daniel Jones is killing it. At a certain point, and it kind of felt like this with Darnold last year. It's like, it's a fluke. It's a fluke. He's getting numbers, but it's a fluke. At a certain point, it's not a fluke. How many weeks in a row does Daniel Jones have to have a good game where we can just say he's back?
I mean, I think this was it. Like, this was the trap game. Like, of any game that's been played in 2025, this was the trap. This is the Indianapolis Colts that no one knows if they're fool's gold or not. Going in against a divisional opponent with a muddy defense and a quarterback that has the talent to potentially keep them in a game and fight. Like, this was the making of one of those upsets. And the Colts passed the test with flying colors. Daniel Jones passed the test with flying colors. He and they murdered them the way they should if they were a real team. So this to me was that measuring stick for the Colts to prove like, okay, this silly divisional opponent that is very bad won't keep us down in a low scoring game. We're just gonna kill them because we're a good team, and they did that. So I'm bought in.
Yeah. I mean, there wasn't even a lot of talk about it this game. It was just dominance from the very beginning. And in garbage time, the Titans ended up making it look a little bit better than it was. But like first pass of the game, Cam Ward throws a horrible pick 6 to Kenny Moore, who he just apparently didn't see. It's just sitting there camping in the flat. But yeah, it was an ugly game. Tony Pollard couldn't move. Jonathan Taylor did, again, literally whatever he wanted, running all over them. The Colts look good. Their offensive line looks good. Their defenses look pretty solid. But most importantly, they look to have their best quarterback play in a very, very long time. And me and you, we're pretty big defenders of starting Daniel Jones. But a lot of people weren't. A lot of people really wanted to let Anthony Richardson try and figure it out for the multiple times. So we're feeling good here in Daniel Jones land.
Oh my God, this will end up being one of the biggest victory laps I take in my life.
Oh my God!
Talk about printing a shirt. That shirt I've
will print shirts.
We will print that shirt. That shirt will be printed. Like I just don't know. Daniel Jones is one of those guys that I never can root against, and I get that he's put some very bad football on tape in the past, but when you put him up against someone else that has very bad football on tape, I was just rooting for the guy that, of course, I felt more comfortable could operate the offense. But the other side of that coin is like I just like Daniel Jones. Like, who else could you possibly want to root for? He's a hardworking guy. He keeps his mouth shut. He's humble. Like, everything about Daniel is so likable. Like, why would you not want to root for Daniel Jones? The world should be a very happy place right now, like sunshines and rainbows.
I remember like the thing about him coming out was everyone called him a prototype of what you want your quarterback to be, and not even film wise, just like 6'5", built, smart guy, went to Duke, uses his manners, says thank you, shakes your hand. Like he's just a QB's QB. He is Colin Cowherd's QB. He is a good young white Christian man. But that is like it is the perfect quarterback that Indianapolis has needed. That's why they keep calling him Indiana Jones. He's here, like he is the savior for this team. I'm saying that now, and he's just gonna like throw 3 picks next week. But so far, so good. That's all I have to say. Like. He did it against a good defense in Denver. He did it against a bad defense or mediocre defense in Tennessee. Like he's doing it against everybody right now. And until he stops, I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah. I don't even know like what the formula is to stopping this offense, because both the run game and the pass game are clicking. It's a well-oiled machine, and everyone is eating on the offense. Like Pittman is back. Downs is making his appearances. Warren's heavily involved. Like there is no one on this offense that isn't getting theirs. And usually like we look at like the Eagles, or we look at, the Packers, we were just talking about them. And you're like, okay, you do this, you put this guy in an uncomfortable scenario and you potentially have a chance to win. Like, what is that? What does that look like for the Colts? And no one knows right now. We'll figure it out. But it feels like they're kind of invincible. Like they have plot armor.
I know. And sometimes it just takes those uncomfortable conversations when you see a talent in Daniel Jones and you're like, there's something there. We're going to have an uncomfortable conversation and say, there is something here. And I see it. And it might not be in New York, but it's in Indianapolis. But another uncomfortable conversation might need to be had. Moving on to the Houston versus Jacksonville game. CJ Stroud. It looked not good for many weeks in a row. We could chalk it up to the offensive line, but I don't know if we still can. It looked just flat out poop.
Yeah, poop is right. Like
it's just poop. I don't know what else to say.
Like CJ Stroud poopy poop. Like it was just bad. Like at what point do you just accept your surroundings, which is a bad offensive line, and you're like, okay, I can accept that. So let's move on to what else we can analyze and look at. And that would be the quarterback. The quarterback has been bad. He's been late to throws. He has been inaccurate. His decision-making has been bad. Like, it is just not the CJ Stroud that I imagined in 2025 at all. Like I was championing this guy. Yes. Him for a majority of this offseason, and he just looks nothing like I imagined him looking. Like I know he had pressure. He had issues dealing with pressure in college, and that was one of the biggest critiques. But I thought in big games, big moments in the past few years, starting his career, he kind of put those to rest. But now it's just every single second he drops back. He looks like he just is unsure, not confident, and he's throwing games away.
Yeah, it's horrible. Like it's like I don't think he was even like he was pressured a good handful, but when he dropped back 43 times, like you're gonna get pressured when you drop back that many times. And
Mhm.
I know part of it comes from them not having a run game to lean on it's people compare them to the Bengals a million times, but it's true. Like when you don't have a good run game and you have a bad offensive line, unless your passing process from quarterback to wide receiver is perfect, it's going to be an ugly game. And Burrow has had a lot of perfect, but when he isn't at perfect, it's an ugly, ugly product because it looks a lot like this, where it is, receivers aren't getting open in time because he doesn't have enough time back there. Like it has to be drop back, decision, ball out. And Stroud pretty famously holds on to the ball for a very, very long time. And it's not buying enough time for his receivers to get open, and it's resulting in a lot of errant bad throws, like the possible game-losing interception that he threw.
Yeah, frustrating stuff. Like I've put my faith in the Texans, I think 3 straight weeks now. I don't know who they played week 1. I can't remember, but I went back to them here. They were underdogs against the Jaguars, and I thought that was an insult. I'm like, yeah, I'll take the Texans to bounce back against this Jacksonville team that seems completely out of sorts, but they couldn't even knock them off. So yeah, it's
they looked bad,
and they look just as worse, arguably.
5 drops, like like a turnover or two. Like they didn't do much. Brian Thomas looked even worse than last week somehow, and still they won. Because I mean, I guess like ETN did something. They had a little bit more of a run game, I guess. But dude, it was no bueno. And Trevor will get some flack for that game. I don't think it was fully on him. I think it was the 5 drops will definitely be a really big impact to your passing offense. But good for them. Like good for Jacksonville to start off 2-1 now, with their one loss being to Jake Browning, which was kind of a weird game that they would have won if they also didn't have a drop from Brian Thomas and De'Ami Brown in the red zone. So drops have been the big issue with their team so far, having far more than anyone else in the NFL. But maybe it's time to finally use Travis Hunter as a receiver. Your defense is actually playing fine. You don't need him there as much, but your receivers cannot catch. He can catch. I want to see him unleashed a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he had 1 catch in this game, and it was a beautiful play after the catch. Great
21-yard screen.
And
it was weird.
It's just like, why? I don't know. Another offense where it feels like we're using the wrong guys. Like, I get Brian Thomas. He had like 12 targets and sucked last week. This week he saw a fair share and still sucked. But, Brenton Strange is leading the team in receptions, and, Parker Washington's flashing. It's like, throw Travis Hunter on the field, please. Like
why is De'Ami Brown getting so many routes? He's doing nothing. Like he did perform well against the Bengals, but I promise you it's nothing Travis Hunter couldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, your defense is doing just fine. And I know Travis is playing a part of that. Like he is playing well, and he's playing very well. But man, the receiving room just needs more attention. And this is the beautiful thing of having someone like Travis Hunter as a prospect, is you can pick your poison wherever you need him to impact your team. You can. And at first they needed him more on defense. He did that. He's playing very well. They need a receiver now. So it might be time to make a little bit of a flip.
Agreed. Yeah, he has played very well on defense. Like I think he had that pass interference penalty on Yoshi Voss last week.
It was not PI.
Yeah, you could argue it even wasn't. And outside of that, I think he's played good. Like it's been one of those, like, you haven't heard much about Hunter throughout these first 3 weeks, and that's a good thing, kind of thing.
He's been playing mostly corner, so yeah, I think it is a good thing. Like it took Sauce Gardner a good half of the year for him to start really getting traction, because he was just playing lockdown, wasn't getting any interceptions. Nobody talked about it, and then people started realizing, like, hey, this guy's not getting beat at all. And then it slowly builds up, and we'll see that with Travis Hunter too if he keeps playing this way. It's like he's not getting picks, he's not making crazy plays, but he's not really getting beat. And that's all he needs to do on defense. But to trade up for him, to draft him that high, we need to see a little bit of offense too. because they desperately need it. Like they cannot stop dropping footballs. So that's the next step. They're 2-1. They're in a good spot, but they've looked kind of ugly. So it's time.
Yeah, it's also time to see Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins too. I think hopefully things are starting to click over in Houston. How many of these teams are going to just not play their good players? How long are we going to go?
I mean, I feel like there should just be pressure for them to play after trading away out of the first round, skipping offensive line, and then drafting 2 receivers from the same school. So there should be some pressure when you make that big of a swing to choose receiver over your desperately needed offensive line. There should be pressure to play them, and they have none. They're like, we got it. Christian Kirk, baby. Xavier Hutchinson, baby. Let's do it. We'll run 12 personnel. We love it.
Literally.
Dalton Schultz. But no, the offensive line's worse than before. They got rid of Tunsil for some of those draft picks. Ariante Ursary, like, you're not moving me, pal. Sorry. Physically either. I'm getting past you, bro. I'm getting past you, Ariante, if you're listening. But yeah, it was no bueno.
No, yeah. Is D'Amico Ryan's seat? Does he get warm if this continues?
I mean, he's the defensive guy.
Yeah.
So I think it's likely your play caller, or you might not want to hear it. Nick Caserio, because he is
yeah.
he had the Willy Wonka's golden ticket. Like he had the draft capital. He had the perfect situation to come in and draft Stroud. Like he had that perfect situation, and he did nothing with it after that. Really, like nothing since Stroud and Will Anderson have been drafted has been fruitful. Like everything is just get skill position guys, skip the offensive line, just keep rotating this fun thing. It'll work sometime. It'll work. Trust me, please. Not so far. D'Amico, to me, is the only thing doing anything well right now because they still seem inspired. The defense still looks pretty good. That's kind of his role.
Yeah.
So I believe in them.
Yeah, true. I mean, hopefully if we just start to see these draft picks participate, then maybe things will change.
Yes.
That's really it.
But another team that had a lot of promise and has kind of looked pretty bad is the Broncos, who played and lost to the Chargers this week.
I mean,
what are your thoughts?
The Broncos are in games despite Bo Nix right now. Like he is playing very dull quarterback, and this was another game again where it was just miss after miss. And this week specifically, it was downfield. Like I feel like I can remember like 3 or 4 balls deep where he had receivers and he just flat out missed. These were in the end zone. These were potentially to seal the game. He missed Cortland Sutton on like a 50-yard bomb that I think would have, I don't know if the game was tied at that point or what the case was, but it would have been pretty game altering.
It would have been big. That's what you need to know. So it would have been huge.
Yeah. And that's just been the story of Nix. It's just he's making bad decisions. And even when he makes the right ones, he's not hitting them either. It's just not been good.
He's arguably been the worst quarterback. Maybe Penix. I mean, you can't even count JJ because he didn't play the third game. Like, you could argue Bo Nix has been the worst starting quarterback to start off the first 3 weeks. Like, it has been that bad. And we talked about it last week. They still have a refusal to use any of the new weapons they brought in. There's J.K. Dobbins, and we are going to do the exact same thing we did last season, minus Devon Vele. It is a strange, strange thing. But also, Herbert looked awesome once again. Not to take away from him at all, because Bo Nix looked bad. It's really weird. People are just pretending it didn't happen. J.K. Dobbins said he didn't overthrow anything. What are you talking about? In an interview, like he said it didn't happen. Broncos fans acting like it didn't happen. But someone who didn't overthrow anybody was Justin Herbert, because he looked absolutely fantastic and beat the non-clutch allegations.
Yeah, Herbert's been lights out. Ever since Madison Beer came in the picture, she started giving him the pregame fits. He's been sharp. He's just been sharp on and off the field. There's another guy that you just love to root for. Who can't root for Justin Herbert, man?
You'd be shocked. Look at any of my comment sections. It's insane. They hate him. But you have a point. I mean, Josh Allen, finds his lady friend. goes off, MVP. Justin Herbert finds his. Like, he's playing at MVP level right now. Like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. He could definitely be the MVP frontrunner right now. He had one bad pick, but aside from that, he willed this team to victory. Like, the offensive line was getting destroyed. The run game finally worked a little bit, but really only because the pass was so alive.
Mm-hmm.
Lad McConkey is now their wide receiver 3 for some reason. He's doing cardio, and every time they pass him the ball, it looks good and it works. They just don't do it that much.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird looking team, but I mean, I say why mess it up? They're killing it right now. Everything they're doing vertically is working. Keenan Allen's on fire. Johnson's looking good. This is insane. I love it. I'm rooting for him.
Yeah, I love it. I do love it too. He made one of the most like mind-numbing throws I've ever seen. Like, it was just so dumb how I don't even know how to explain it. He just threw a good ball. Actually, a famous ball.
And they tried to say it was Keenan Allen's doing. Like, they're still trying to take away.
I know.
Like, it was a ridiculous ball that hit Keenan Allen right in the hands, and he caught it. It was a good catch, sure, talented catch, very good. It was a crazy throw. Like, and people are just like, he caught that. Keenan caught no. No other quarterback is getting it to that spot on this planet. Like, maybe Josh Allen, maybe Mahomes. That's it. And people just try to find a way to not give Justin Herbert credit at any point. He hasn't had a run game for 2-3 weeks. His offensive line played terrible. His receivers are okay at best. He's giving handoffs 60 yards downfield, and they're like, wow, Johnston. No, it was good. Justin Herbert is delivering the best footballs of his life right now. Give him some credit.
Yeah, fuck, man. He really is. And I mean, it's just so, like, just looking at the names on this chart, like Arondé Gadsden, 5 catches, 46 yards. That's fun. Ridiculous. But, like, come on. Keenan Allen at the ripe age of, like, 34. This guy's still getting, I don't even know how open he's getting anymore. It's just Herbert's that accurate. And
he is. I mean, he's getting open, but, like, it's just, like, every ball is hitting receivers in the hands. if they catch him or if they don't, like, that's up to them. They still do that really fun thing where they throw contested catches to Johnson all the time that he doesn't come down with, but they try and do it, and they're accurate footballs.
I'm glad that Hampton finally was. I mean, that guy had 6 catches for 59 yards. It came at the expense of Najee Harris, unfortunately. I hope he's doing all right. But Hampton finally broke out. I wouldn't say from like a film perspective necessarily.
No.
But from a numbers perspective, a fantasy perspective, this was finally what people were waiting for.
Good to see. Very good to see.
So, yeah.
But yeah, enough mean words towards Bo Nix, because that was kind of a lot and kind of warranted. But we'll move on to my current favorite quarterback in the NFL. Baker Mayfield played the New York Jets, and they were dominating what kind of felt like for a majority of the game. And the Jets rallied. They had this. They came back. They blocked a field goal. The Buccaneers felt like they were about to put this game away. Will McDonald jumps over the offensive line, blocks a field goal. They house it, and they gave Baker a little bit too much time.
Yeah, they did.
Ended up winning the game, and I was kind of joking around with my friends, like, I think that he wanted that to happen. like he wouldn't get enough credit for this win because they did it all so early. He wanted a comeback win like last week, so he could just take credit for all their wins, because he looked really good down the stretch.
I believe it. I think he loves it. He loves the crunch time. We know it. We know how much he thrives in these like sicko moments. He's one of very few of this breed. But you know, if Jordan Love got put in that situation, he throws the ball backwards. But Baker Mayfield, he'll throw a touchdown on a game-winning drive every single time you need him to. So I love it, man. I mean, Baker is playing some very, very high-level quarterback, and he is putting himself in conversations that a lot of people don't want to acknowledge. Like, I think it's really time we start giving this man like the credit he deserves. Like, how many more times can he do this?
They just say he's playing unethical football, and it's they'll say it's his offensive line. Like last year, you saw a lot of people saying it was his offensive line's doing, and he has so much time, and he's still not playing as good as he should be. Like, people are hypercritical with this guy for absolutely no reason. He embodies football, the sport of football, to a T. Like, this is exactly what you look for, despite Colin Cowherd saying he doesn't like guys wearing backwards hats. Like, he is football, and I don't know how you could ever root against Baker unless you're a Browns fan, who did, and we talked about that already. But it was an awesome game. It really was.
And the fun part too was the Emeka Egbuka breakout part 3. He is fully coming into form. This is your offensive rookie of the year front runner comfortably, I will add. And it's not going to slow down because Mike Evans is now due to miss time. Chris Godwin's still out, and I think they would be silly to try and replace his targets. So the Egbuka train is moving, and it's coming downhill fast. And honestly, like, you know, you kind of were vouching for him all offseason. Like, he was your receiver too, if you weren't including Hunter, right?
If you do include Hunter, he was my receiver too. If you don't include Hunter, he was my wide receiver 1.
Wow.
So I was a big fan. And he looks how I thought. Like, I just envisioned this Amon-Ra St. Brown clone, and he looks that way so far. And I do believe that was a catch. He had a crazy play down the right sideline that ultimately didn't count, but I think it was a catch. Either way, didn't matter. They made enough plays. They sunk the last field goal. Thankfully, didn't get blocked this time, but it was awesome. And it was a really weird week of just constant blocked field goals that I started just noticing. I saw the first one, thought that was crazy. Saw the second one, thought that was crazy. The third, the fourth, even the fifth, I started freaking out. It just it didn't make sense. But the one that made me the most upset was in the Rams versus the Eagles game. The Rams had a very sizable lead. They were dominating the Eagles in really every way they wanted. And Eagles came back. Jalen Hurts, they finally opened up the passing game. They finally remembered they have A.J. Brown, and he did whatever he wanted to those poor Rams corners. But the Rams got the ball back with enough time, drove down the field, a pretty easy kick, and Jordan Davis's big ass jumps up, blocks it, then picks it up and returns it all the way for a touchdown. So they ended up losing the game. The Eagles won again. Shocker. And they're to 3-0 now.
Yeah, no one likes when the bad men win. I don't think anyone wants the Eagles to
Why
win
would I
anymore.
want them to win? They play unethical football. It's awful.
Like you said, the Eagles remembered that A.J. Brown was on their football team. And then the Eagles also remembered that Emmanuel Forbes was on the Rams football team. And they're like, wait, we've seen this before. We've seen this exact movie before. Let's just recreate it. And yeah, and then Darius Williams got involved too. He was doing some theatrics in the end zone. Like, they're like, oh, wait, the Rams employ some very skinny and not very strong defensive backs. We have this transformer at wide receiver. We probably should just start throwing him the ball deep, and that probably will help. And yeah, they hit one deep shot, and then all of a sudden everything opened up. Like, is it really that hard? Like, I wonder sometimes.
I do wonder. Like, sometimes I'm like, what do they know that I don't? Like, why are they running goal line offense on every single play? And they did it to the Rams to start. Like, they looked bad. Like, they were not moving the football. They were trying to do their bullshit of usual. But I think it's ultimately a part of Saquon not really opening up like how he did last. Like he's looked good, but he hasn't looked like a Madden cover yet, if you could put it that way. And A.J. Brown hasn't looked like the possible third or fourth best receiver in the league until this game. Devontae Smith was on silent mode. Everybody else is on silent. And they finally opened it up, and it was fruitful. It ended up working, and they came back and won. So I do expect to see that a little bit more going forward after seeing how well that worked for him.
Yeah, you'd like to hope so, but I think it's safe to say that Jalen Hurts is a system quarterback. Like, I feel like he definitely fits the description of a guy that he requires schematic success for him to be a positive passer. And if things are breaking around him, he implodes. Like 17 passing yards in the first half. Like, to not be able to pick up any slack as a supposed elite quarterback is pretty damning. Like, we've seen him with an assortment of play callers two of which are now head coaches, two of which are potentially being fired in the next few weeks. If you count, Brian Johnson, and now with his current play caller, who knows what happens with him, but there's a theme here. Like when things aren't clicking all around him, he just doesn't seem to have the ability to pick anything up, and he plays very replaceable quarterback. So sorry, Eagles fans.
Like it was bad, but that was arguably the best game of the week. It was two of the best teams in the NFC. I would argue had a possible preview, if you will, into what that game would look like. But I think I don't want to take away from Philly's win. Like they earned it. Like they came back and they won. But I think it showed how beatable they are. They've looked extremely beatable 3 games in a row. They came out on top, which I think is a testament to their coaching and their defense. But so far, they have not looked like this dominant Super Bowl team. Like they have a lot of work left to do. And I wouldn't be that optimistic if I were them. But if one thing is certain, the Eagles are winning close football games. It's just what they do.
Yeah, and the Rams are not. Like the biggest thing that Sean McVay has struggled with, I feel like, in his entire coaching career is his red zone success, and that was pretty much the story of this game. They were 1 for 4 scoring touchdowns in the red zone this week, and that came on a strip sack fumble from 10 yards out that resulted in a touchdown on 1st and goal. Like Nakua and Adams are having their way from the goal line to the 20, and then once it gets inside of that range and they don't have a Kyren Williams 2-yard plunge, it just is nothing. There's just no ability to get in the end zone with Stafford's arm.
It's weird. Like that was kind of his bread and butter for a while. Like in his, in that Cooper Kupp year, that was where they dominated people. Was Cooper Kupp was unguardable in the red zone no matter how many people you put on him. And Puka, I feel like, can't do that. They just haven't. Devontae Adams made a career out of that, being an unstoppable red zone force. So it's pretty strange to see their struggles there. They throw it a lot on the goal line if they're not within like 3 yards, like you said, with Kyren Williams. But you would like to see them open that up a little bit more. I think that they just trust Stafford so much to do the right thing, but he's not Superman. He can't do everything. Sometimes you need to make it a little bit simpler.
It might not even be Stafford. It might be the imposter. We don't know.
He might be the imposter, even though if you saw some of his all 22 tape from last game, the throws that imposter was making were some of the best I've ever seen in my life. So they might just start him full time if that's the case. But we will move on to the 4 o'clock if you are normal and you live on the East Coast. But as I said before, there are actually 4 things that are certain: life, death, taxes, and Chris Olave is getting 55 receiving yards because he does it in every single game. He did it again as the Seahawks dominated them 44-13.
We got to get 10 catches too. Holy shit. That is hysterical.
Give Chris Olave 1 catch. He'll get 55 yards. Give him 10 catches. He'll get 55 yards. That's just what he does. Don't ask him to score touchdowns. He will not do that. 55 yards. But Sam Darnold, I think it's time to have conversations. He looked incredible. 14 of 18, 218, 2 touchdowns, over 12 yards per attempt, passer rating of 154.2. Like he did anything he wanted. Throws on the run from left side to right side. Beautiful placement. It was a Pro Bowl level game.
It was, and it feels like we're getting all these version of Stafford and Nakua with Darnold and JSN. Like
it's not even all these; they're killing it.
Like, that is true.
I like Aldi's, by the way. So it's not an insult.
No, avid Aldi shopper. Avid what are those like knockoff cereals? You go to your friend's house, and you're like, it's not Fruit Loops. It's like
talking to me about cereal. I would know.
Okay, it's like Fruit Circles or something.
Yeah, but I think if there's any victory laps for you to do, I feel like one of them should come from this game. What do you think that would be? The one that I'm thinking of. Torrey Horton
Oh,
is what I'm
yes.
thinking of right now.
Yes.
Torrey Horton was one of your guys come this draft cycle. One of the receivers that you picked out of like the 50 available and saw something out of him. Like you're like, wait, this guy's better than he's getting credit for. And this guy, returned a punt, 96 yards or something like that.
Mhm.
And also got his own pretty impressive touchdown catch in this game. So Torrey Horton looks awesome. Sam Darnold looks awesome. They don't even need to run the ball. They average 2.6 yards per carry. Doesn't matter. Sam Darnold has an 154.2 passer rating. We're good. Ken Walker, we're good. We got Sam Darnold.
I mean, this is all kind of off topic, but there's something weird going on with Charbonnet. Have you been like paying attention to that?
Like his injury?
Yeah, but like he like missed the game, of course, and then they play Thursday night, I think, and he was a full participant in practice, but like shortly before that, full participant yesterday, but shortly before that, they signed Khalil Herbert, and everyone's like, okay, that means probably not good things about Charbonnet's availability going forward. Like there's like some weird like fishiness going on there.
What
like,
was the injury designation?
going to the game?
Yeah. Was it?
I think
like
it
what
was,
was his limb or his
I think it was ankle. I might be
ankle?
wrong. I could be way
That's
off.
that's a weird one for like to have any kind of controversy around. Really, ankle is usually pretty straightforward.
Foot injury it was.
Yeah, that's weird though. I mean, maybe they thought it was worse than it was. Maybe they just want the security. Maybe they didn't like what they saw out of George Halani in this game.
Yeah.
Because he also struggled to get going, but they all did. Like literally all of them. They didn't have any kind of run game, but again, it didn't matter. The Saints have been pretty good at defending the run all year, and the Seahawks offensive line has been pretty bad at manufacturing a run game. If it's not, on the outside, anything up the middle has not been good for him. So wouldn't be that worried.
No,
I think Char will be back. If not, trade him to me because I would really appreciate that. But next game we'll move on to would be a kind of a game that I didn't realize was going on, even it was so boring. The Cardinals and 49ers. But it was a close game. The 49ers came out on top with an Eddie Pinheiro clutch field goal. They're not used to seeing that at all. Poor 49ers fans. And they won the game, but at a cost. James Conner, he was looking pretty solid too, but had an injury so bad they wouldn't even replay it. And the Cardinals do not look to be as fun of a football team as some people thought.
No. Yeah, this is a dark time to be a Cardinals fan. You lose like the engine to the operation in the backfield. Kyler still looks like Kyler. Actually, he kind of played decent in this game, I'll be honest. But
yeah.
Marvin is looking like a Mitsubishi. That's been the joke. Mitsubishi Marv.
Yes. That's so sad.
And like, talk about things you didn't want to see on replay. The James Conner injury was one of them. Another one was Marvin's first drop, and then another one was Marvin's second drop. We probably could have just seen that in real time and then been done with it. Because
was the second one the one in the end zone?
Yes.
Yeah, that one wasn't as bad. Like that would be an impressive catch. I would have called that an impressive catch if he made it. The first one was really bad. Like it was a simple, just like crossing route, wide open, hit him in the chest, and he jumped for it still. Because I've seen some people noticing he really likes to catch underhand, as opposed to putting your hands overhand, which is like by far like preached by every receiving coach. That's the way to do it. Overhand catch. It's easier to control. But he underhands him, and he'll even jump to do it. And it was bad. Like, it was a bad drop. It could have been a humongous, maybe even, 60-yard touchdown gain, and he jumped and dropped it. But it's not like this is the first time this has happened. Like, he's been struggling with drops all year long. He's not playing physical. He's not winning after the catch. Like, the entire thing that you wanted from Marv as a prospect was that he would catch everything. He had crazy concentration. He caught, he would move his body around, contort it, catch anything you threw at him. And he's not winning at the catch point. So right now he is a slower Quentin Johnston, which is a really bad thing to have a slow Quentin Johnston. So we need those hands to come back. We need that aggressiveness towards the ball to come back. But right now he is playing BTJ afraid ball. And it's really weird.
It is weird for two guys that were so successful in college, and at least for Brian Thomas's sake. I mean, even Marvin, who had a maybe not relative to expectation a good season his rookie year, but it was still good.
That's fine. Yeah.
And it's gone downhill for both of them. And just seeing that drop by Harrison is like that's the play I'll pull up anytime someone tells me that an average person couldn't get a yard in the NFL. You're telling me an average person couldn't run that crossing pattern wide open for 15 yards and just catch that ball. I'm catching that. I don't care. I'm running that route and I'm catching that ball. I
yeah. These are called D1 hands. These are called. Okay.
It doesn't. I can ask my mom to run that route and get open. It was just schematically open, and it was dropped in the bucket. Like anyone's making that catch. I'm sorry. So
I do agree. It was extremely catchable, and I mean, people drop stuff all the time. It was just for how bad things have been going for him lately. Kind of my critique, I don't know if it was commonly shared, was just like he's not physical. He doesn't seem to have this like Puka Nakua, brain toughness. It was kind of just like this natural fluidity and ability, but we haven't even seen that. So if he doesn't have like the mental strength, mental power to get through this, then I'm pretty damn worried.
You know who did have some mental toughness? Mac fucking Jones, baby.
Mac Jones does.
McCorkle dealing with an injury.
I love him.
Dealing with a foot injury, so like hobbling around on the sideline, but still getting the job done against Josh Sweat and company, who were kind of at his throat like all game. Like he had a day.
They were asking Mac Jones to be mobile on a hurt lower extremity, and like I don't know if you saw him scrambling because he was in danger of getting a safety called on him.
Mm-hmm.
It happened to Kyler, but there was also one that almost happened to Mac Jones, but on his injured foot, he was just like limping his way forward out of the end zone, got a gain out of it. But they were also asking him to hand off on stretch plays all game long, which requires the quarterback to kind of like get a move on it and hit kind of get to the outside. So he was just limping his way with the ball in his hand, trying to hand it to McCaffrey. And it was a sad look, but he toughed it out. Pearsall looked like one of the best receivers in that draft class. He looked like a deserving first round pick. I mean, he's looked like the second best receiver in that draft class after like Malik Neighbors, which is crazy because people thought that he was a bad first round pick, and he has looked really good so far this year.
I think he's like receiving yards, isn't he? I think he's
up.
Which is insane with Mac Jones throwing him the ball. I've started to notice that last year, who from that draft class benefited from Mac Jones? It was BTJ, and now is Ricky Pearsall getting the ball from. But I just love to see Mac Jones go 2-0 now that he's been the starter, because I like Brock Purdy as a guy, but this is exactly what everyone has been saying the entire time. Like, this 49ers team is as decimated as it gets, yet still the system is good enough to have somebody that isn't an idiot run it, and that's Mac Jones, that's Brock Purdy, and that's all. And this is,
and I mean, they didn't have to trade multiple first round picks to get Mac Jones either, like they did with Trey Lance. Like they could have just picked him then, like they were supposed to, and they went through all that. If they had Mac Jones and invested those other first round picks into like weapons and DBs and linemen, they might have won Super Bowls, to be fully honest. Like, their supporting casts were that dominant at one point. They probably could have won a Super Bowl if Mac Jones was playing average football and they invested those first round picks into something not named Trey Lance. But a sad one for them. Nick Bosa got hurt. He was my prediction to be the sack leader this year. Tore his ACL. Not looking good. But a lot of speculation for them to call and trade for Trey Hendrickson. I think that would be a pretty beneficial thing on both sides. Like, Trey is only a Bengal for a year. Nick Bosa is out for the year. The Bengals probably are not going to win enough games to go to the playoffs, and the Niners still can. So I do think it would make sense for the Niners to put a pretty reasonably high capital into acquiring someone as good as Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah, and the Bengals specifically would definitely field probably more compensation at the deadline by a desperate contending team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's kind of what teams do, though. Trade guys away at the deadline, because that's when, like, Bradley Chubb goes for a first round pick, and you're like, what the fuck? But no one really talks
Yeah.
about it because you're like, oh, that team just needs him and they're trying to win now, so it makes sense. But then after the fact, you're like, what the hell? But now
Yeah.
that's what could happen with Trey Hendrickson. So he absolutely should be gone by the deadline. No doubt.
It just makes sense for both parties. Like the 49ers, it would be a shame if they just rocked with what they've got right now and just said, this is it. Like, we're going to try and win off this. This is going to be our pass rush. Michael Williams. This is it, man. Like, that would be sad. Like, you do want to see them make a push for someone of Trey Hendrickson's caliber. He probably doesn't have a lot on his career, but he has another year or two of pretty good football. So I definitely would make a move if I were them, because we don't even know if Nick Bosa will come back healthy to start the season next year. We have no idea. So really big deal to get another guy in there. I think that the Bengals could get more for him now than they could have by trading him 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Because of what you said, like the desperation of just like, oh my God, we're 3-0, like we're 4-0, like whatever. Like we have a good record. We could make the playoffs. We need an extra guy. We need a pass rusher. I think they would definitely think about doing that.
Do you know where he's going to end up? Take a guess.
Where?
Yeah, Hendrickson.
Like by trade?
Yeah.
Buffalo.
No, I wish. But I think Trey Hendrickson's going to end up with the Eagles. It just is such a Howie thing to do. They probably could use an edge rusher, and they kicked the tires on Myles Garrett, or was it Micah Parsons? One of the two they were supposedly, looking into, and they never ended up pulling any sort of trigger. So it would be so on brand if the Eagles are right in that conversation. And then, poof, week 8 comes and Trey Hendrickson's an Eagle. And we're like, how does Howie do it again?
For a 5th round pick.
Literally.
and like a new washer and dryer. It would make so much sense. But we'll move on. Enough about them. We'll move on to something that made me happy, at least. Caleb Williams versus the Dallas Cowboys had a first overall pick level game. He had over 300 total yards, 4 touchdowns. Didn't really get affected by any pressure. No sacks. He was on one. And even though people chalk it up to Dallas's defense just being horrible, he made some big boy throws. He put his pants on. He made some big boy throws, including that 65-yard ugly flea flicker touchdown from DeAndre Swift to Caleb to Luther Burden. It was awesome.
My Caleb Williams arguably has the strongest arm in the NFL take is aging like fine wine. Rhett has torched me every single, I think once a week we talk about that. And every week Caleb makes another throw. I'm like, Rhett, look, Rhett. And he's like, you were coming.
Yeah. But to your point, even your argument wasn't that he had like the best stand in the pocket load release. It was pure arm.
Mm-hmm.
Like Caleb, it was the ugliest running back toss on a flea flicker I've ever seen. DeAndre Swift put that bitch 30 feet in the air, and then Caleb had to go run for it, caught it, didn't even like feel for the laces, immediately caught it while he was catching it, let it go with one arm, like no load up, no nothing, got 60 yards in the air, perfect dime touchdown. And it was the kind of stuff you would see from him in college. Like there was no accuracy issues this game. There was no bad decision-making in this game. He wasn't getting sacked this game, wasn't holding on to the ball too long. It was awesome. It was truly like I felt like I was watching a first overall pick. And he had it easy. Like Ben Johnson was doing whatever he wanted to Dallas and Matt Eberflus, but he executed. And it was good. That was what they needed to see.
Yeah, definitely. That was like, that kind of felt like the coming out party for Caleb a little bit. Like finally this kid that had so much hype that everyone was so kind of controversially arguing over, he finally has that game that definitively is like, okay, look, this is why everyone is so high on him, or was so high on him. This was exactly the reason. And it just does feel great. Like I saw a Bears fan on my For You page for on Twitter tweet out, he's like, man, we really could have had Justin Fields and Marvin Harrison, and it was quoting like Marv's drop. And it was just so hysterical because that's what Bears fans fucking wanted. It's so insane.
Stupid. They wanted Justin Fields passing footballs to Marvin Harrison and like DJ Moore, like that. You think that can be more fruitful than having Caleb Williams throwing to like Odunze, who looks like a Pro Bowl level receiver also? Like, and I don't want a victory lap too early, but I did have a prediction that Rome would have more yards and touchdowns than Marvin Harrison Jr. And it felt hot, but right now it's actually looking like it's going to smash and possibly double. So I'll take it. I'm going to early victory lap. It's going to bite me in the face, but Rome looks fantastic. DJ Moore is an afterthought. And the run game still has its own struggles. Swift still sucks. Manangai looked awesome, but except for that one really ugly run that he ran like 10 yards backwards with. But aside from that, Bears looked awesome. No notes really. Like their defense even looked fine. And they have a lot of injuries in that secondary. So good for them to see.
Yeah, it's not good for the Cowboys though. I still cannot rack my brain enough to figure out how in God's name they looked as good as they did in week 1. They fooled the whole world in week 1 against the Eagles.
Like, I mean, it was like I don't even know. Like Javonte Williams still looks good. I mean, part of it was they didn't have CeeDee Lamb for like a full game. But the defense is so bad. They are the most boring they're constantly out of place. They have no idea how to dial up any pressure. Something I put in the Discord that I was doing a little bit of independent research on about Matt Eberflus is he has had one single double-digit sack pass rusher since he's been a defensive coordinator or head coach. Wow. And it was 2019 with Justin Houston. He had 11. That is it. Like he has not produced any kind of pass rush. Montez Sweat's high was like 9 or 8. Like he is not producing anything. And we see it with people like Donovan Ezraku where like his issues were like power and run defense. And they're not even letting him use his normal pass rush style. Like they're making him bull rush every play. It's so weird. And that's part of the reason why like no one else, even aside from Ezraku, can't get to the quarterback. No one can do it because Eberflus is a ding dong and it makes no sense, but it was a struggle to watch.
It certainly was. And I think it probably felt so good for so many Bears players to stomp Eberflus's defense the way they did because I can't imagine. I feel bad for the guy and add him to the list of individuals I feel very bad for, but also probably deserve a lot of the flack he caught. And I'm sure it felt very, very good for the Bears to kind of come full circle and be like, yeah, this, you sucked at your job and now we're going to show you why, literally.
Yeah. That was awesome though. It was sad, but yes, like you said, it was awesome. It's like sometimes like NFL fans like to watch, like they like to hate watch and it feels good. And sometimes you kind of hate watch and you feel a little bad about it. That's how I felt in the Giants and Chiefs game with Russell Wilson coming off of like a career high, like 450 passing yards, couldn't miss a throw. This game was different. It was if Penix didn't exist, this was by far the worst quarterback game of the week because Russell Wilson played so bad he got benched in week 3.
Yeah, I mean, jeez, like Russell Wilson has to be the biggest one-trick pony ever right now. Like he just it's throw deep or no throw period. It's like what are we doing right now? Like I guess the aggravating part for me is like we knew that this is what he is at this point in his career. That's what it was in Denver when he was like running in circles in the pocket and taking bad sacks. And then he goes to Pittsburgh and it was fun because him and Pickens connected at times, but you could see that if that wasn't working, the offense was dead. So I just was confused, still am confused as to why the Giants thought it would be any different. And it was the same thing last week. It was moonball after moonball to Wandale of all guys and Malik Neighbors. And then this week, that gets taken away by an actual competent defensive coordinator, and Russell Wilson can't even see straight. Like, he had to have gotten benched. Like there was no other choice.
I agree. I mean, I guess they could if they wanted to be boring, but I'm worried. Not that they're benching him, but that they're doing Dart already instead of Jameis. Jameis is built for this shit. Like he is built to come in, take the heat, take all the pressure. He is built for that. He is one of the best of all time at just taking heat and still bringing a positive environment. But they're going to Dart. And I will say, I do think Dart's mental makeup is perfect for this. Like, he seems mentally tough. He's extremely confident. He has leadership swagger that they've been looking for. He has really good rapport with Scatabo and most of the other team. It's just like quarterbacking wise, I don't know what I don't know. He looked good in the preseason, and he's came in, gotten a little bit of action so far as a runner in these games, but this is going to be different, and I'm a little worried for him, but I'm excited. And this is the first time I've said I'm excited about the New York Giants, probably since I was watching them against the Patriots in the Super Bowl, or since Odell made that catch. But really, aside from that, this is the first time.
Yeah, I am also I'm very worried. Like I hated on Dart in the pre-draft process, and then he goes to New York, and it felt like it was the right thing, the right fit. But yeah, like you said, now they're pushing him into a timeline that wasn't what their plan was, and that could backfire so bad for so many people involved. And something that I was talking about, I kind of was like involved in a Twitter thread earlier today when the benching was announced. Like, if Dart was the move, like they traded up into the first round, mind you, to go with Jackson Dart, and the plan was to sit him for the year. They brought in these veteran quarterbacks so that they had the flexibility with their starting quarterback. And now for them to go to Dart as soon as week 4, presumably because there's heat on Shane and Dable, is confusing to me, because you would assume that the rest of the organization was all on the same page. Like, these guys have some more leash to have some time to figure this out, but I guess that's not the case. And now they're going to Dart. So it's over. It could go up in flames.
I do think that when you have a backup as talented as Jameis, it does give you hope that Dart has shown enough in practice against a pretty decent defense that he can come in and play. Like, they wouldn't be doing it if they didn't feel like he could play. They would put in Jameis. It's not like they didn't have any other options. But this is what the fans want. I don't think the fans will be that angry if they lose with Dart, because this is what they want. They want the young guy to play. I mean, you could hear it on live TV. They were calling for Russ to get benched, and it was sad, but that's what they wanted. So sometimes you got to give the fans what they want, and it'll either shut them up when it doesn't work, or it'll prove them right, and you have a good quarterback. Like, either way, that's the right move.
Yeah, it is sad, because I've said it so many times. Like, Seahawks Russell Wilson was one of the most entertaining quarterbacks of our lifetime, and it does suck to see him kind of go out like this. But yeah, the other thing that's not very sad is watching the Chiefs suck. I love that. And Pacheco doesn't have half a brain. I'm convinced that when he lost his leg, he lost some brain cells.
When did he have a brain?
He probably didn't. He probably never did.
Like, I think, to me, he is I don't want to say untalented. That's mean, because he's talented. He was good running back, but he doesn't have the running backy type skills like Kareem Hunt has. Those he has the vision and the patience, and he falls forward. He makes good decisions. He's a good receiver. Kareem Hunt can do it. Pacheco is brainless. It seems like that one backwards pass that Mahomes had to Pacheco. At first you were like, what is Mahomes doing? And then you realize that Pacheco's hips are turned towards his own sideline, and he's just running away. It wasn't even looking. It made no sense. Like, he is just out there running as hard as he can at nothing. He picks somewhere to go. He sees the color red and he goes. And it's bad. Like, he's like Forrest Gump, where like he didn't know why he was running. He didn't know what he was running for. He just started running. He was just told to start running, and he did. But now that he's lost a little bit of a step due to that pretty bad leg injury, he can't just rely on crazy bursts and aggression anymore. Like, he has to be smart and have good vision and not be dumb. And he hasn't done any of those things yet. Like, he has legitimately been arguably the worst starting running back so far.
Oh, yeah.
It's been pretty ridiculous, like, actually how bad of a run game they have. Point where Kareem Hunt is really the starter now. Like, he's a borderline startable player in fantasy in some leagues, and Pacheco is cuttable. Like, he is not going to play any more than he is now.
No, he's not. Yeah, the thing with running backs is, like, there are so many different styles of backs, but at its core, you're either like a smart running back and you have a lot of tools, or you're just like a meathead that runs into contact and you love it and you eat it and you fall forward like a scatterboo. Like the guy
Yeah,
is
but he's
just a maniac,
big.
but he's also big and he's got the other tools. But Pacheco, on the other hand, it's like he has those like brainless thoughts of I'm just going to run through you and get as many yards as I can and run hard. But like you said, the whole leg thing probably lost a lot of power there. And now he's doing like he's literally facing the end zone when catching a pass. Like
So bad.
it just is. It's DeAndre Swift level slander. Like that guy catches so much shit. Pacheco should now be in that bucket of like
he should be, but he's not gonna because people love him. Like they love him. Like they love his personality, and I do too. I don't want to hate on him, but just God bless. Like that cannot be the running back on a championship team. It just can't be. Like Kareem Hunt is the guy they go to in big situations now because he gets it done, and Pacheco just slams into Trey Smith and falls backwards. Like it's just he's on crack. He is on crack, and and they need to investigate him.
Yeah, I think Kansas City should also be investigated for back-to-back heat checks to Tyquan Thornton because
that was awesome.
That was awesome. Insane. Like
it worked.
It did. Like I love it. And Thornton's on Twitter, like quote tweeting Patriots fans, like, "Yeah, that's right. You gave up on me, bitch." I love it.
I mean, he was overdrafted as a second-round pick in the NFL. People hated him. He was bad. He was flat out bad. But playing for the Chiefs, Andy Reid, Mahomes, like something happens to you. You get a little better. Marquez Valdez-Scantling found his way. Like they find their way. These little weird, speedy guys.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a ball that was kind of a drop, kind of just a hard catch. Barely missed it. They go at him again. Huge touchdown. It was awesome, but crazy to see. They still struggled against the Giants. It was a snooze fest. And it made a lot of people mad that they stayed up to watch it. But a game I was happy I stayed up to watch was the Ravens and Lions game to finish us off on week 3 because that was fun.
It was a blast. Like you could just tell from the first 2 drives that it was going to be a good one. And there were so many takeaways from this game. Like we could have spent this whole hour 40 talking about this game alone just because of how many different storylines came out of it. The biggest one from the Lions perspective is they're going to be fine, and B, the creativity with the play calling. It was like Ben Johnson was still there. The 4th down Amon-Ra pitch to give
awesome.
was so fun. Like that's the type of play that makes me feel like it's impossible to play defense for all of the other reasons, with all the flags that go in favor of the offense, and you can't hit guys anymore, all of that shit. But when you also tack on the fact that these coordinators are the most creative motherfuckers ever, and you're like, how do you even prepare for that? And it's just bullshit.
What I think, and I've came to realize this recently, even while you're talking about this, is I think that most offensive coordinators can do this. I think they would do this if the head coach allowed it. But when you have someone like Dan Campbell that allows everything, like he's willing to try anything it takes to win, anything it takes to dominate. I think that whatever offensive coordinator comes to him, no matter who it is, and says, "Hey, I got a bag of tricks. I want to do these." He's like, "Okay, awesome, man." Like that's it. Like there's nothing else to it. And I think that they obviously do have a little bit of leftover sprinkles from Ben Johnson. I think they still have those in a filing cabinet somewhere. We're in 2025, probably on a Excel doc somewhere. But still, like I think that like Campbell's part of this. Like he is maybe not drawing them, but he's allowing it. And that's enough because I think a lot of head coaches are so stubborn to where they would be like, no. We're going to play the right way. We're going to do this. But he's into it. It's awesome.
He is. And that wasn't the only play. Like they reached deep in their bag. It really looked like a Ben Johnson called game. And that was the biggest indictment on the Lions offseason, was not only their talent lost, of course, but now they don't have their coordinators. And this can be said for the defensive side of the ball too. I mean, they were after supposedly the best offense, one of the best quarterbacks in football all night long. And this is a defense that really like talent-wise, it has pieces, but there are very exposable areas of the Lions defense. But I don't even know like half of the pass rushers that sacked Lamar last night, but they had like just not notable players getting after the quarterback. And I guess that just goes to show that maybe it is Campbell. Like these coordinators, Campbell,
Yeah.
they just draw something out of these players that other teams can't.
Agreed. And I think something like what you were saying earlier is it sucks to be a defensive coordinator because you usually can't be that creative. Like you kind of just have to do what you can, and you have a little bit of like a weird leash there. But Zachary Orr is on he's on the hot seat, and it's weird because like they haven't been that horrible of a defense. They shut down the Browns. Like they were pretty good against the Bills until they weren't. Like they had a good game plan going in, and Josh just made too many plays. But the personnel they have is some of the best in the league. But the decision making that Zach Orr is doing personnel wise is awful. Like on the goal line, why is Marlon Humphrey playing linebacker? This is ridiculous. Like they had like 4 down linemen and 2 linebackers, one of them being Marlon Humphrey, to stop David Montgomery runs. This makes no sense. Everything that he trotted out there was just getting beat. And it wasn't because the Lions players were simply better. It was the Lions scheme was just doing circles around him. And I said it in our Discord, and I'll just keep I think that if they lose again in the playoffs, I think it's on him this time. The defense really struggled last year, and we only blamed Brandon Stevens for some reason, and then they figured it out, whatever. But they're struggling again against the 2 talented offenses they face. Like they have not gotten any pressure. They have not looked like a scary secondary. Roquan Smith looks terrible right now. He looks lost and uncomfortable, and it's a scary sight for Baltimore fans for sure at 1-2.
It's a horrifying sight because this is supposed to be a team that is built to play ahead of schedule, and that is how the team has lost in the past, is when they are put behind schedule and Lamar has to drop back, and it isn't necessarily his fault that this part of the offense struggles, but they don't have the personnel to play like that.
Oh,
And
I think he played a good game.
yeah,
It was just Zay Flowers had 10 yards. Like it was just not the weapons could get it done.
No, and that was kind of like this game was just weird to me from the Ravens perspective. The 2 takeaways from that side is that from the Ravens side for me was like on that 4th and 9 with 4.5 to go. Like if I'm Harbaugh, I'm going for that. Like I trust Lamar to get 9 yards before I trust Zach Orr's defense that's given up 300 yards on the ground between the tackles and 2 90-plus yard drives to suddenly stop David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, once. Like I'm just not taking that bet. And I think Harbaugh is ultimately another catalyst of this team and not winning. Like I think they're just not going to win a big game as long as he's in charge. Like these repeated comebacks that they allowed to happen, these breakdowns they have at the end of games. There's one common theme here, and it's him. Like, so I think he needs to change. Like, talk about you're talking about the whole stubborn thing with head coaches being flexible and thinking outside the box. Like Harbaugh is definitely one of those. No, we're doing things the right way by the book, and it bites him in the ass. Whereas Campbell is the complete opposite. And look at the difference in the game.
It's the opposite of his brother.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jim and John, like John Harbaugh is like happy-go-lucky, or Jim is like do whatever you want. Like we'll get creative. We'll have a really fun. Let Jesse Minter have the craziest defensive scheme in the league. Let it happen. Like do whatever you want. It'll be fun. Let Greg Roman cook. Let him. Like that's another thing. Like Greg Roman, people wanted him fired in Baltimore. Like they wanted him out. He goes to the other Harbaugh brother, who's a little bit more easygoing. And he looks like a good offensive coordinator again. Like that's part of it. It's just a head coach can absolutely hold play calling back. And that's just kind of how it feels right now.
It does. The only other critique, strong word. The only other thing I noticed from this game was I think Lamar did play a good game, but there were so many times where I was just like, dude, run. Like, I know you want to
Yeah.
stay in your ways and be that passer and look downfield. Like, that has been his biggest strength. But this was a game kind of almost like the Kansas City AFC Championship game a few years ago, where it's like, dude, just throw that shit away and just be the athlete you are and dominate everybody. And it felt like he just got tackled. He got wrapped up. He got tackled by his shoelace so many times. It was very unlike Lamar. And I just felt like he just doesn't put his pedal to the metal sometimes when he's got the ability to. It's very weird.
Yeah. I think he just needs somebody to like, obviously he sees it every single day, but I feel like someone in the actual program just needs to be like, hey, unleash, like just say, like unhook the trailer, go, like, and that'll be enough. Because I know they probably reined that in and did a lot of work trying to rein that in when he kept getting hurt, and they weren't like a functioning team, and they were like, hey, we need you to be healthy, we need you to play, we'll sacrifice a loss or two for you to stay on our team, please stop running so much. But at a certain point, like you said, like like you don't have to do it every game, but just sometimes let it go, run, like be you. And I think he's capable of it. I don't think that that is gone. It just needs to come out sometimes.
It does. Yeah, I think you're right. He probably was literally like locked in a room and like shown multiple reps where he ran, where he should have just kept his eyes downfield. He's like, don't do that. Don't do that. And it was probably some voice just playing on a loudspeaker with like flashing lights. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. And yeah, it's probably just been kicked out of his brain. But yeah, maybe someone just needs to say like, dude, you're the best athlete in this fucking league. Like, just dominate, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, very shocking. 1-3, 1-2. The Ravens are. Who would have thought?
Damn.
Who would have thought?
Not me.
Not me either. But that is our week 3 recap. These will wind down time-wise once there are less games, but it is hard not to just talk about all of these games in depth. So it's fun. But with that said, if you guys enjoyed, as always, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, join our Discord down in the description below, and we will see you in episode 64.